What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another brand new Major Ben Gaming video. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day as always. Now, in today's video, we're actually going to be talking about PlayStation 5 Pro, but because we've had some new information and leaks that we're going to talk about here today. So, PlayStation 5 Pro performance will be close to 7700 XT in rasterization, faster in ray tracing apparently. So the PlayStation 5 Pro's performance is expected to be in the ballpark of a Radeon 7700 XT GPU, but with some improvements in ray tracing performance according to a well-known leaker. Setting expectations in check, well-known AMD leaker Kepler revealed on X that the new console's performance is close to 7700 XT in rasterization and slightly faster in ray tracing. This information falls in line with everything we have heard so far, as the console is said to bring a significant ray tracing performance improvement over the base model. With the PlayStation 5 Pro reveal supposedly getting closer and closer, more information on the console started emerging online in the past few days. According to well-known leaker Bill Kun, the console's design won't be too different from that of the base model, as shown on the system's packaging. Additionally, it is not yet known if the console will be released with a disc drive, as the packaging the leaker saw was for a digital-only edition of the system. Now, this is actually something that's pretty concerning. We may not see a maybe actual one bundled in with a disc drive just because of how expensive it could be on its own. So we maybe a thing where they just have to go out and buy the disc drive separately, like you kind of do for the the PS5 Slim. So we're talking about a 7700 XT. So if we go on this relative performance chart, this is a very good website, by the way. This is Tech Power Up. We can click on this relative performance of an 7700 XT. So you see that like a 4070, for example. Let's zoom back in. A 4070 is about 13% more powerful. Now, something I do want to add is that although it's going to be similar rasterized performance as a 7700 XT, that does not mean that PS5 Pro will necessarily be the same performance as this. It could be more, it could be less. This is not taking into consideration things like PSSR, something that we do not know about yet. We don't know the technology. PSSR may be, I'd imagine that Sony is developing PSSR to be either, well, definitely better than AMD FSR, because FSR is pretty bad, and I would imagine it's going to be either on par with something like DLSS or potentially better than DLSS. We don't know. This is their own technology they've come up with to work with the hardware inside PlayStation 5 Pro. So they're going to have their own upscaler, right? So this could mean they're going to be able to run games at a lower base resolution than what currently the PS5 is actually running them at, but get a better image quality. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but because of having PSSR over something like FSR, yes, we have to wait until we actually see what this is going to be first, but we should see a significant improvement from base model PlayStation, even when running at a lower render resolution and upscaling above that on PlayStation Super Sampling, whatever it is. So, but anyway, this is the rasterized things. Now, we know, I believe, the PlayStation 5 is like a 5700 an RX 5700. So if we actually go down and find the RX 5700, this is the base model PlayStation. Here we go. So if we click on RX 5700 and then we actually scroll, let's just scroll back up to the 7700 here, we can see that over base model PlayStation 5, this is an 181% increase of relative performance on the console, which is really interesting. That's a pretty decent jump up, and we can see where we're about an RTX 3070 Ti, in between a 3070 Ti and something like a 6800 or a 4070. I can see that obviously when we were clicking on this before, and we can see that the 4070 is 13% higher, but I genuinely do strongly believe, and it's fine if people want to disagree, I do think we're going to be around this sort of area of performance with a 4070 because of things like PlayStation Super Sampling resolution and various different optimizations. You got to bear in mind that PC tech is not specifically optimized for. We are going to have the console very heavily optimized for. Again, if we go back to the 5700, wherever it was, I think it's going to be roughly, where is this thing? I think I scrolled way faster than I realized there. It's going to be way above this. here we go, 5700 here, we can see that it's only comparing to like a 2060 in just above a 2060, but we've had Digital Foundry confirm many times that the performance of this has actually been on par and sometimes above a 2070, which is already a 5% increase over what the PS5 GPU has very often been compared with. So it is actually punching above this weight. Always the PlayStation 5, so it could be believable we get slightly better performance than a 6800, for example, in terms of actual performance. But currently the leak is showing, in terms of on paper, the PlayStation 5 is similarly performing to a 7700 XT, but with far better ray tracing support, which is obviously what Sony is going to be touting. And I'm hoping we're going to get much better resolution. I mean, you can see up here the recommended gaming resolutions for this card is all of them, so up to 4K, which is brilliant. No 8K there, which I think is silly if Sony do actually go out and push 8K gaming. I think that's very, very silly of them, because I don't think anybody wants that. But you can look at some of the specs here. Again, don't look at just the raw T-flop count of stuff, because it doesn't actually come to fruition. There's a lot of stuff that just, it doesn't just work in T-flop count. And as Mark Cerny rightly said in the original presentation, that T-flops is not the only thing that matters, and he is dead right, because we've seen that based on counting T-flops on a PS5 and then a Series X, and seeing that in many cases there's some performance gains on PS5 over Series X. But I think this is really interesting to see what we're going to kind of get, and what you should go do now is look at benchmarks of like RX 7700 and just actually see what you can expect from this, because it's a pretty decent card, and you could get more with optimization. Obviously, more performance with optimization is going to be really, really good from a console, and I'm looking forward to see what the price is, because if actually that's something we could quickly do, is if we go and type in an RX, what isn't it, 7700 XT, let's just see how much those cost, even on offers. So you're looking at, just for the GPU on a PC equivalent build of this exact card, like 335 you can get from Vary right now. That's actually an overclocked card. So if we're already at 335 for the GPU, I can't remember what the CPU equivalent is, but at the end of the day, this is pretty decent. Like, you're getting a £335 at retail, like 369 here, for example, 370, plus all the other stuff. That's just the GPU alone. I think you're going to have a pretty good console, and a pretty decent system that's actually going to be overpowering its PC equivalents in many cases. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing comparisons between the 7600 XT and PS5 Pro, because I can guarantee we're going to see better performance from the PS5 Pro because of optimization for that specific hardware. And again, PSSR with frame gen and its own upscaling technology, I think that's going to be pretty good. So that's it for this video. Leave a like if you have enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you in future videos, guys. Thank you very much, and bye-bye for now.